Please
sit down so we can begin. And please, I would like you to welcome warmly our two astronauts who are here. Introduce you Hazza Al Mansouri.
Bonjour.
Was quite a pilot on F-16, right?
Yep.
And then became an astronaut. And it was the first one, from the United Arab Emirates to go to the ISS. And the second one, and who stayed there for 6 months, is Sultan Al Neyadi. He's an engineer, has a PhD, so everything is possible. They are both here to tell you that if you work hard enough, everything is possible, right? So I'm very pleased to have you here in our school, and I give you the floor for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Indeed, working hard works. I'm happy to be here today with my colleague Sultan to take you on a journey how to be like being selected, training, and go into space. And my colleague Sultan will talk about his 6-month mission. It's really a privilege to be here and among young students, and hopefully maybe one of you or all of you in the future will be landing on your mark.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's a great honor to be talking to you today. As I walk through the corridors and seeing the labs, I just remember the old days with out of your age, very ambitious, very young. I wanted to do everything. And today we'll talk about our part of the missions that went to the International Space Station. Just to give you an example, why we go to space and why is it important to go to space and how do we live and work on board the International Space Station. So enjoy. Thank you.
Space. Why we are going to space? Why space? Usually, actually, it's because in our DNA to explore. We want to go to places that no one before us went to. So when I was a kid, I'm from UAE, United Arab Emirates. Our space program just started 10 years ago. Literally, our country just established 15 years ago, before the first team of space flights. Imagine that. So coming from that region, dreaming to be an astronaut, that was a challenging part. When I was a kid, I saw stars, I listened to my ancestors, my parents talking about our ancestors, how they use stars to navigate, to know the seasons. And that's probably my first memory about, okay, I want to be an astronaut, I want to go to space. I grew up, I asked about human space flight in our country, nothing. So I said, well, so okay, I will get closer, I will be a pilot. So I joined Air Force, I became a 16 pilot, and this is why I get I was enjoying doing that. High speed, low altitude, pulling G's, and just enjoying my job. But still that dream, going to space is still there in my mind. We are going to space to understand how we can live there, how to explore and to go beyond our planet Earth. And everyone always asking us, why you are spending so much money in space? We are using everyday technologies that's being built for space. From GPS, how you use your maps, Google, to go from place to place, from MRI machines, from everything, from camera phones, everything around us, mostly everything that's done, spin-offs from going to space. Anti-braking system in the cars, from space shuttle era. So there's a lot of technologies happened because we want to go to space and we want to go to like explore what's beyond. In our country, that was a dream back then, and our leadership gave us this opportunity, the selection. We are the first batch in our country. We've been selected in 2018, and the announcement came to everyone. If you are capable, you have the passionate, and you have the ability to represent the country, please apply. So we applied among 4,000 applicants, and I'm a fighter pilot. My colleague Sultan, he's an engineer. There's students also among NASA astronauts. There's teachers. There's from different disciplines, and this is the beauty of space. You don't need to go to certain disciplines or background to be an astronaut. You need to be the best in that field. This is one part. Physically, you have to be athletic. You have to have this ability to do demanding things on board the International Space Station, and mentally, you have to be strong. Emotionally, you have to learn how to work with other people from different countries. Guess what? The International Space Station, it's international. Different people from different countries, from different mindsets, different ethics, different colors. What is beauty about space? We are speaking one language, science. The addition of both of us, we have Noura and Mohammed, both of them currently training at NASA with the NASA astronauts to be graduated next year. This is the tough part. Training after selection. So usually there are different things. One of them is the rotating chair. The rotating chair, usually you will do that before the flight during the quarantine. And I think everyone now knows what quarantine is after COVID. So in quarantine 2 weeks, we will do different preparations for the first 2 weeks on board the station or when we are going to space, because it is really very, very challenging, the space environment. You will get a little bit discomfort in the beginning because of fluid shifts, because of the vestibular system in your brain gonna shut down. We need this movement to tell our brain that we are going forward. The inertia, the feedback from the inner ear. This thing will not help you on board the station because of microgravity. It's gonna shut down. The only thing on board the space station that I tell you where it's up and down is your eyes, is your training. You can be upside down, and I will see you, all of you upside down. I will see myself, I'm upright. It's interesting. There's a big window on board the International Space Station, we call it curve, where most of the astronauts take pictures from there. It's looking to Earth, at Earth. So it's common sense, we are up there, so we should be looked down there. From there, we can look down. But sometimes when you're into this cupola window, you will feel you are looking up. You go, come back again, sometimes you feel you are looking just across the window. It's amazing. So another preparation, we'll just go through that again. The parabolic flight, vomit, comet, where you just like train for almost 30 seconds, experiencing weightlessness, trying to do different type. This is like 50 kilograms, but it's floating because we are in parabolic, like simulating 0G. We are wearing so-called suit. This is the Russian suit for going to space and coming back. We have to train to wear it in a certain time to be professional. There are certain scenarios that are gonna happen in space that we have to evacuate. So you have to do it very efficient. And this is our Superman Sultan. This is the winter survival. Winter survival. Coming from UAE, winter is not our friend. It's 50 degrees there. So we trained in Russia to survive, to live in a very harsh environment. And because we are in Russia, it's very cold. So they tell us, okay, they told us go and spend 3 days in the woods, just simulate landing from the capsule and using and utilizing the sources on board the capsule and in the environment to survive till the search and rescue come and rescue you. So that was really very interesting training. After the session, I told them now we have to do desert survival. Also, astronaut training is very like it's totally different. You're gonna sometimes be a student in the morning. After that, you're gonna fly in that day, and maybe you will do some robotics. You will dive with this EMU suits. So you will do different things. Astronaut, he will be the technician on board the station. He will be the scientist who will do science, and we will report it to the main scientist on the ground. He will be the reporter who will give you things happened on board the station. He is the plumber, unfortunately. He's everything on board the station. So that's a skill set required from that person to be really alert, always there, attention to details, because that's gonna help you. It is really harsh environment we are living on board the station. So EMU suits weigh 150, 130 kilogram. But guess what? On board the station, there is no weight, but there is mass. So you have to deal with that mass only. Everything is floating. So we trained at the NBL, which is like at NASA, not Houston. It is a neutral buoyancy laboratory, and there's a chance to simulate the training by going underwater in the biggest pool in the world and simulating 6 hours of training just to know how to fix station from outside during spacewalk. And Sultan, he's the first Arab astronaut to do that in his mission 6 months. We are doing everything, even tooth extraction tooth. We will learn that. We learned how to do like geology and understand how to read terrains. This is for future mission going to the moon in future or going back to the moon. So these from our colleagues, Noor and Mohammed, where they are part of NASA class. So this is their there's the logo, class logo. Guess what? It's like a fly. So it's traditions at NASA. Each class they named them after like living things. So they named them after the fly. And the pose is Michael Jordan pose because they are class 23. So it's really important to work with the international group. That will enhance your skills set. We are not playing with our food. We are just studying here. So with my colleague Nick from NASA, he was teaching me how to like use water bag to like see the bubble. It is this is interesting. And in microgravity, things gonna behave differently. So this is the water here. Therefore, because the surface tension, it's gonna be like a bubble, and that's really very interesting. So we are studying different things. Also, planes and ground is normal like that. When it is in a station, it is like in different shape, and scientists trying to figure out what's happening up there. The International Space Station, the most expensive thing human built outside this planet. It's amazing. It's the biggest laboratory orbiting Earth. The speed of the station is about 28,000 kilometers. Speed of sound times 25. That's what's this number for. And it's at altitude of 400 kilometers. Not that far, but still giving us this opportunity to experience weightlessness. We orbit station or orbit Earth 90 minutes in just 90 minutes in one orbit. In 1 second, 7.7 kilometers. That's super fast. We are teasing people back home. We are the fastest human alive in UAE. And we witness 16 sunsets and sunrises because of the orbits. So it's not that because of that you're having 16 breakfasts. It's huge. From outside, it's equivalent to UAE football field, or US football field, sorry, American football field. So it's very huge, very big. It's built in 1998, and since 2000 till now, there is humans living there. The wingspan equivalent to 777, Boeing 777 from outside, and the weight is about 420,000 kilograms. Very huge. But you know what's the most beautiful thing about space? Is launch space. Because when you're on that rocket, you will recall everything that you've done in your life. Wow, I made it. I'm just a couple of countdowns to go to space, a couple of seconds, and they will go to space. The training, the preparation, everything that you've done in your life, even from like childhood, the dreams that took you on this journey, the friends that help you to reach that point, teachers, your parents, everyone in your life help you in a way to reach this point, to be in the top of rocket, launching to space. I launched from Kazakhstan, Baikonur. They are speaking Russian there. So I was hearing this counting down in Russian. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and launch. It's amazing, so amazing. The launch itself is different G's than the airplanes because the G is perpendicular to your chest, so it is not that tough, but it's like about 4.5 G, so your weight times 4 to 5, and the stages of rocket can take you up to acceleration to escape from the gravity of Earth, and you will reach eventually the speed of 28,000 kilometers. You will reach from 0 to 200 kilometers in just 8 minutes. Insane. For this. I'm not gonna sound. I just remember my first look at Earth from space. I was still in the capsule at 200 kilometers, trying to go now to 400 kilometers to reach the station. And the first view I remember I saw is Earth. It's too amazing. The colors of Earth is so vibrant. Oceans, forests, deserts, mountains. You will see a lot of scenes just in 90 minutes. And you will appreciate what you have up here or down here. Oxygen, CO2, everything for free. Up there, it is calculated per person. So this is one of the things that I will not forget. Why? I think it was. Amazing. Beautiful. And it is what it takes to be an astronaut. It takes everything in your life. Your childhood, everything. Your commitment, your discipline will take you up there. That once a dream for me, and I'm living my dream now. So, and I started this job with my colleague Sultan, and he will now take us in a different journey, 6-month journey.
And again, thank you so much for having us here today. You see me in the picture. I was behind Hazza on the first mission. I was his backup. And many people say, "Oh, you're a backup. You have no role in it." But honestly, this is a great lesson. And we always, when we go to school and universities, we tell everybody that if you're working within a team, you have to give it everything that you have because you're working for a goal. Our goal is working and reaching space. So we went there as a team, and this is an advice for you. If you're working with a team, even if you think that you have no important role, you have an important role for your team, for the university, for your country. So give it everything that you have, and eventually it will pay off. Going to space, as Hazza mentioned, is so magical. Many people dream about going to space and why do we have to go to space? You give it everything that you have. And I share the same culture, coming back from a remote area where in the 80s we had less light pollution. So we could literally see the Milky Way. We see the stars and we see the constellation, and you start wondering whether it's possible to go to space. And again, at that time, we had no space program, but luckily in our country, we started our own program and we're privileged to be the first one to be chosen to go to space. And before talking about my mission, I'm privileged to be here today because you're all studying process engineering, and I'm an engineer myself, by profession. I always tell Hazza, I envy you because he's a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot when I finished the high school, but I was wearing glasses. They didn't accept me. I chose engineering. I've done electronics and communication. I was good at it, finished my master's degree and a PhD as well. I joined the program at the age of 37. Many people, when I started applying, they said, "Oh, you're too old." Nobody would accept you, but eventually I went through the examination and the preparation and I got selected. So never let go of your dream. Okay, I arrived to the International Space Station after almost 5 years of training. As I mentioned, we do everything. We fly jets, we go into neutron buoyancy labs for 7 hours. We do all the critical science. We do maintenance tasks, so you have to be there doing everything by yourself. Nobody will help you with that. It's either you or the team, but nobody can send you a technician or a doctor or, as he mentioned, a plumber to fix the toilet. You have to do it all by yourself. So we rely on each other as a team. We had 3 American astronauts and 3 Russian cosmonauts. During the handover, we had Japanese, we had other people from Netherlands, and we're good friends of Thomas as well. He's our, I won't say favorite astronaut yet, but he's a very cool guy. We love him. Yeah, so we go there, we work as a team for so many days. I spent 186 days in space. 6 months is not a small period. You have to be ready physically, mentally, and just to go into that endeavor with a lot of passion. If you don't love it, it's going to be a problem. So I gave it everything I had. And space is fun. It's the accomplishment of or the fulfillment of the childhood dream. So I was trying everything. I was running as Flash. I was pretending to be swimming. I don't know what kind of style that one. I was Aladdin. And that's a weird style. I don't know what's it called. But yeah, everything is weird over there. I was playing with some honey and I saw it like a ball. So I started experiencing that or experimenting the shape of the honey in space, and everything is experimental there. You need to see how materials are shaping, how your body will react to microgravity. And we are the guinea pigs going to space. We have a lot of sensors on us. They're monitoring our cardiovascular system, our sleep, our weight, even the bone density. We return from space with a lack of bone density and the muscle mass because it's really harsh. You don't use your legs in space, so you lose body mass. That's why that's how we have to train at least 2 hours a day to maintain that fitness and the body mass. It's a fun thing. We just came from a youngster school, and I was showing this to them how water can shape in space. And I was playing with a mask, but this is Suhail. It's a 0G indicator. We keep them in the capsules, indicating that we reach space. So it's tethered, so whenever we reach space, it starts floating. And this is a question for you. Why do you think the water bubble is not sticking to his head? Anybody? Come on, you're injured. Don't be shy. Okay, I'll give you this one. So you see some birds, maybe ducks, they're going to water and come out with no water being on their body. It's a similar thing. It's a microfiber that has small pockets of air that propel water. So there's the same thing happening, but it's definitely really, really fun in space. Apart from the fun, we go there again for a scientific mission. We test a lot of materials. We do communicate with the scientists. So you see me in a glove box here and talking to the scientists and applying some medication to heart tissues. And it's really amazing if you hear some of the comments. So we apply medication to the tissues. We put them in a microscope. We talk to the scientists. And the greatest thing was hearing the scientists like almost shouting, saying, Sultan, we see a heartbeat. The tissue was beating. So you feel really honored to be a part of this scientific mission. When you be my age, you might have bad knees, and I do have bad knees, but I was working on something called the biofabrication. It's specified for creating or bioprinting meniscus. So that's why we go to space. We experience and we test things that might bring benefit to humanity. A lot of things. We tested other medications for paralysis, some medications for some body disorders. Again, as I mentioned, we have a lot of sensors on our bodies, and they test us before the flight, during the flight, and post-flight to see the impact of radiation, the impact of space on our bodies. And our mission was 6 months, and this is the same time needed to reach Mars. It's really tough. We need to understand how humans will arrive in Mars and how would they react. So that's why we produce medication and test our bodies to be able to perform well on Mars and other planets as well. Space station is our home. Again, we have to live there for that long duration, but we need to enjoy it, right? We need to exercise 2.5 hours every day. And you see me on a treadmill here. The orientation is receiving here, but we're actually running towards the floor on the ISS. But we're using bungees and some chains to stabilize ourselves. We fix everything. We fix everything by ourselves. Here we're fixing the treadmill, the same one I'm running on now. I'm running or doing an experiment here. This is my full quarter, by the way. I sleep standing on the ISS, but I don't feel the orientation. We have other astronauts sleeping on the ceiling, some other astronauts sleeping on the floor. And the luckiest is the one who's sleeping on the floor because he has a similar orientation as and I'm doing some water recycling. And this is this morning a lot of students laughed at us because I'm telling them that all the water that we produce from going to the toilet, we have to recycle that because it's really expensive and hard to send every water that we need to consume. So we almost recycle 95% of the water from the condensation, from the water vapor, and from the urine. So we do that upstairs as well. We do communications. So we need to showcase what we're doing. That's why we're here today, telling you about space, why it's important. So we do a lot of interaction. So we have a hand radio that we talk to students. I had the privilege to actually run a competition from 5 universities in the UAE. So they were programming a flying robot. Imagine that you can program a robot in space and they start the motion, and they had to draw certain shapes, and it was amazing. I mean, imagine having the privilege to program a flying object in space with a speed of 27,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of 400 kilometers. It's really, really incredible. Crown jewel of the mission was doing an EVA. This is really, really critical. Even if you have the qualification, you might not have an opportunity to go outside, but I was lucky enough to be participating in an EVA. It lasted 7 hours continuously. You have no breaks. You have to do everything, sometimes by heart. You have to memorize the procedure. And my task was to prepare for a solar array installation. And we went there and we did the needed. These are the solar arrays. And the solar arrays that we needed to install is to put them in a mud canister, it's called, and then it will be deployed along the old solar arrays. It was amazing. Yes, scary. I mean, looking down to your feet, you see nothing. You see the vastness of space or the ground. And the first sensation that you'll be drawn away. But we're in space, we have no atmosphere, so nothing will drag you. Even with that high speed, nothing will pull you away from the structure of the station. But still, you feel the sensation that if you let go, you might be floating away. And here's a short video about life in space. I will explain what's going on. This is some of the group photos that we took. Some people are upside down, some are upright. We gather after every working day around a dinner table. We chat about our day, what we've done, what's for the upcoming days. Is a lot from the cupola. People are working on cargo. And here's the treadmill I talked about, running towards space, or towards Earth. This is a resistant device simulating weight lifting, but in space we have no weight. But it works by simulating the weight using a vacuum cylinder, so it gives you the resistance. A cycle with no seat, with no handles, just pedals. A lot of carvers. There's a Russian cosmonaut doing some storage, and it's really, really busy. A lot of cables, a lot of storage here and there. Luckily, no gravity, so we don't have trip hazard. Otherwise, I don't think it'd be easy. Here's my friend Woody Holbrook preparing for an EVA. We play chess with the ground, so we move one move a day, and then the ground, the command control will move the other the next day, another move. Done a lot of POs, talking to universities and schools and answering some of the questions. And I'm sure today you have a lot of questions. We had some fun. I created this game from the Space Dart, playing to put that ball within the hole. This is some acrobats trying to fly through a chain. And always fun to play with water. It's really amazing. But this time I used some oil to see what would happen, and there were small bubbles of oil within the bubble of water, so it's really amazing. We get some fresh food as well now and then. Apples, fresh apples, fresh oranges, and we keep the peels because this reminds us of nature when we get these. Pizza nights. Even my birthday, I had my birthday in space. And this is not a real candle, it's only a flashlight approach. Some captive tape. And the exhibition approved. But I had to say goodbye to the station after the 6 months. Receiving the new crew members from Japan, as I mentioned, and Russia, and Finland. They took over, spent like 5 days of handover, and then we had to go back and land. And land is really dynamic. You're coming from that speed, going into the atmosphere with with the atmospheric friction, you start to get a hot temperature up to 1,900 degrees Celsius. With that speed, you need to brake. It's like pushing the brake and holding that. And we even go into that plasma phase where communication blackdown or blackout will happen for almost six minutes. That was my landing, or a splashdown into the ocean. See me there trying to smile because I was really tired and disoriented. Hazza had another story. Maybe landing on the ground is another thing with the Russian Soyuz capsule.
It's a different experience. You have to land in a hard surface other than ocean. So we have parachutes, and we call it at the end. There's like a soft landing with the soft thrusters. It wasn't that soft, but
It's almost an explosion.
you feel like, okay, I'm happy to back there again. But as he mentioned, Sultan, you cannot walk at the beginning because of muscle atrophy. It's still weak. Your brain's still trying to adapt to 1G that we are experiencing now. We felt like this 4 or 5Gs. Your body is just screaming from the pain. And they have to carry us. That's my boss carrying me. Thank you, boss.
Again, that's our story, going to space. And now let us hear from you.
Some of you have some questions or issues we want to debate.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. I'd like to know what the test was to become our operation when we started as an engineer.
Again, we went into the selection process that took almost a year. So we started with an online examination. It's almost like an IQ. Then, well, before that, we need to submit a resume. And serving almost 20 years in the Army, I accumulated a lot of experience, academically and technically. So when you apply for something, you need to apply and show the best of you. So I applied a really good application. And then we went into the examination. After the online, we did some psychological tests. We went into like a preliminary medical test. And then we went into a deeper IQ interview, and then a psychological test as well. And then finally went to Russia for 2 weeks of torture. A lot of medical examination. The first week I called it medical test. They checked the hearing, the vision, the cardiovascular, everything. The second week was the week of spinning. You saw that rotating chair or the spinning chair. We went into a centrifuge. So the launch itself is only 5 Gs, but the centrifuge took us to up to 8 Gs. So if you weigh 100 kilograms, you would feel that you're weighing 800 kilograms. And then eventually we had the final interview where they selected Hazza and I for the first batch.
Also question?
Hi, thank you again for your amazing presentation. Okay. So you've both, I think, Hazza, you've been on the Soyuz, and Sultan, you've been on the Kudak, and you've also trained for the Soyuz. Which one of the two vehicles you prefer? Like,
You have to be a political little bit in this answer. To be honest with you, each system has its own advantages and disadvantages. You cannot prefer one over the other. Probably what is different in the Soyuz, it is been launched for the 60s and 70s. They've been launching on Soyuz, so the safety is higher than, or so see proven that it's really safe. So where we launch in the Soyuz, it is actually 2 compartments together. So the volume is divided in 2 compartments. the commanding module and the application module. So the commanding module where we are sitting during the launch itself, it's really very tough. So I remember it is about 8 hours of being in a very very tight space, but it's doable. You trained on that, and then there is the other compartment where you can do other really other things there. On the other side, the SpaceX, it's a new vehicle. It has its own advantages. It's futuristic. If you saw the pictures, I honestly like the suits. It's really futuristic, but and it's just one compartment. There's no compartment, so the volume is bigger. So I always tease Sultan. You flew in a business and I flew in a car. But both of them work fine. The safety is the number one. So, and we saw that one in both of them, and we learned a lot from both sides. It's really important to learn and advance in this sector. Yes.
Okay, we have another question here.
Hello, thank you for being here. You talked about the adaptation time when you came back to Earth in gravity, but was it also strange and when you went to the ISS, even though you had training on Comet, was it strange? Were you disorientated or something like that?
Unfortunately, there is no hard rule about going to space or returning. I mean, you could be a really talented pilot, or maybe you went through really hard training and you have this good vestibular system, but you go to space and you'll be totally sick for a week. Or maybe you have nothing, just like me, an engineer. I'm not a pilot. I went there and I felt fine. So there is no an actual, I would say, way to guarantee that you go to space with no problems. But we take some medication that our flight surgeons, they say it might work, it might help just to prevent the motion sickness. But overall, you go there and you feel everything is weird. You don't sleep as usual. Your sensation of time is different. Again, you feel 16 or you see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every day within 24 hours. So all of that is totally weird. You don't feel like normal until you adapt within maybe the first week. And then even the fluid shift within your body, you feel your head is heavy and you feel congestion. Okay, this is going up to space. So you need at least one week of adaptation. Coming back, because your inner ear was shut during the space mission, because there is a fluid in your ear that moves the tiny hair in your ears and gives you the indication which direction you're leaning. So this is not happening in space. When you come back, it's like a reactivation of that sensation of leaning forward or backward or so on. So also you need an adaptation time to be able to walk normally and to be able to handle your weight. Everything felt really, really heavy. I could not lift my arms. They gave me a bottle of water and it felt like a ton. So I did not bring that bottle because it's really, really heavy. And just lifting your legs, it'll be a problematic in the first few hours. So yeah, you need at least a week going up, a week going down, just to feel normal. But very good question, thanks.
Hello, always a pleasure to talk with astronauts. Do you plan to go to the moon? Is the UAE having a program with NASA or IPSA?
That's a very interesting question. Probably our boss, you can answer that question. So UAE will have sustainable program in general. So as I mentioned in my slides, we started 2 astronauts and we end up with 4 now. So we are definitely gonna go with this international commitment. They are gonna go back to the moon. We're gonna be definitely in UAE part of that initiative, and hopefully yes, we'll fly. Maybe one of you guys will be on that ship also together with us. Never know.
Thank you for being here today. My question is, during your time in ISS, what did you miss the most about Earth, and besides your family and your friends?
Yeah, 6 months is a long duration. You start maybe after the first or second month, you start to miss gravity. Yes, I remember the first few days. You put an item on a table, for example. You look back, and then you look back again, and you won't find it. It'll be floated away. And I really struggled because to set up an experiment, you need a lot of item collection. So that's why we use bags to collect everything inside of it. And yeah, we take things for granted. So even here you miss, or when we were there, we miss the smell of nature, smell of rain, the bird sounds. So you won't find that more the International Space Station. So yeah, you start missing the gravity, the nature, and most importantly, the food. You won't have fresh food over there. You won't have a fresh burger or fresh fries. So everything is packed, maybe a year old. So you have to hydrate it. We have dry food. We need to hydrate it and then consume it. Yeah, so we really feel happy when we receive maybe some apples or oranges. That's why we keep the peels. When we peel them, we keep them on a table, on a tape, just to smell the nature again.
But there's no fresh croissant. Next one.
Thank you for your coming. And my question is, how do you see international collaboration in exploration, space exploration?
That's a very important question. And I would say recently with the International Space Station, we saw how countries, when they are coming together, what they can achieve. The International Space Station, it has been orbiting since 1998, and it is international. There's major countries came together, or I would say agencies, entities from different countries came together to build this amazing laboratory floating in this orbit. So the major players on the station is the United States, Canada, Russia, IPSA, the European Space Agency, and JAXA. So these countries and entities, they came together and they agreed that if we want to do this sustainable program, we have to do it together. And because it's expensive, the resources and the commitment, and also the diversity. When you are coming from different backgrounds or different countries, you come with your ideas, and somehow these ideas gonna enhance in a very creative way, building new things. And that's what we saw on board the International Space Station.
Thank you for coming. My question is for future mission, like on the moon or the Mars, did you already train to moon gravity or Mars gravity for this?
I can comment in this one recently. So when Sultan was on board the station doing funny stuff, enjoying this the view up there, I was part of a group of astronauts from different countries. We were conducting experiments or tests. We call it sea test. So we end up in Catalina Island, which is south or west of California. So we end up like 1 week. We go every day for a couple of hours, wearing this mask, full face mask, on the bottom of the ocean, simulating the gravity of the moon, handling different equipments, trying to understand how we as the end users, astronauts, when we are on that lunar surface, how we can translate or move things from place to place in a very efficient way. So we are trying to go to the details of things. Okay, what's the most convenient way to do it to make it easier for us? So we are part of that process. So it's really important. So this is one of the things that we are currently doing with NASA for future missions.
So maybe this is the last question.
Yes, thank you for this participation. I have a question from just after you graduate from engineering school, just before to be selected for the NASA, you must have other work experience to be selected in upgrade your chances.
Yeah. So I worked for the Army for almost 20 years, the UAE Armed Forces. I worked as a communications engineer, and then I found some interest in information security. I went into that as well. I had the privilege to work in securing like a global networks. So I had to travel. I came to France maybe like 15 years ago, and it was my first visit to France. And yeah, you just go into different courses of training. You go into other projects. Then you also academically enhance your knowledge. So I've done my master's degree as well. Came back to the UAE and worked for a while. Then I went to do my PhD in securing information, and in a specific field that's called data leakage prevention. And throughout the time of the academia and the work environment, I said 20 years almost, I kept reading about space, reading about the rockets, what are the general atmosphere. So that's why I'm saying it's really important to indulge yourself with the information. I mean, seeing something amazing just like 2 days ago, the launch of the Starship. It's really huge, really, really interesting. And that is the future. That is the real future. So you need to keep yourself updated for the news, space, what's going on in the world. So when you get the chance, you will show that you have a background academically and your work experience, and plus the general knowledge. And I think that is really important. When you go for an interview, you show some general knowledge. Yes, you might say, okay, I love space. I want to go to space. Please select me. But if you don't show some level of general knowledge, it might be not good for you.
Yeah, I would say just try to go outside your comfort zone as much as you can. The more you go, the better you'll be.
Thank you very much.
To do that, I think that they would need to